Hello, Cesar.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you.
I have a question. I wanted to understand the difference between consciousness, awareness, and attention. Are they all different?
Awareness is the absolute reality, the ultimate. In this case, consciousness is knowledge, knowledge of being. I am, which is not a thought.
Awareness is the absolute and consciousness is...
It depends. See, nowadays there is so much a mix-up with concepts, right? So it depends upon which scriptures you read. For example, if you read Ramana Maharshi, he refers to the absolute as consciousness. He refers as mind without ego as I am. If you read Nisargadatta Maharaj, he used the word awareness for the absolute, and he uses the word consciousness for the I amness, sense of being.
Is that I amness or is it a body consciousness? The ones that belongs to body?
When there is
because of the body.
When there is I amness, there is body consciousness, yes. And then there is body identity. And this is when the mind kicks in. I am the body. There's a thought. So let's do something better. Let's speak about one's own experience. Everybody experiences that. In deep sleep, you are, yes or no? You exist.
Theoretically, logically, yes.
Theoretically, no. You must exist in deep sleep. Even if you say, no, I don't exist in deep sleep, how do you know that you don't exist unless you exist? Right?
In deep sleep, I don't have experience of existing.
But you exist.
I can only say that after I wake up.
Yes. So when you wake up, right, you say, I exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I existed in a deep sleep.
Well, let's put it in a different way. Awakened state, dream state, deep sleep state, right? Everybody is aware of these three states, right? So there must be something there that is present in the three states, seeing that these three states alternate each other and contradict each other.
Yes.
Now, who is it? Isn't it you? Because you speak about it exactly. So you must exist, you must be present during these three movements, right? Of whatever you like to call it. If you want to call it whatever you like, it doesn't matter. Waking state, dream state, deep sleep. I must be present. I must be aware or conscious. Or I must be what sees these three states, right? So I exist in the presence and in the absence of all this, right?
Yeah.
Right. Good. In deep sleep, you are that which sees. You just don't know it. See, you are not aware of being that.
Right.
Right? So in the transition from deep sleep to the awakened state, what is the first thing that you know?
That I exist, that I am.
I exist, that I am, right? So now there is knowledge of existence. So I am is knowledge, right?
Yes.
It is knowledge of existence.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as there is knowledge of existence, there is body consciousness. We are trying to see the process as if it is going through slow motion, right? I don't know that I am. First, I know is that I am, then I know the body. Let's put it in that way, right? When the body appears, automatically there is body identity. And the thought arises, I am the body.
But how, to me, the thought I am, that first knowledge, and the body consciousness, they cannot exist without each other. How can you know I am without the body consciousness?
No, you can't.
So to me, it's the same thing.
The thing is that if you manage to experience that transition, right, you would find that first there is I am, and then there is body consciousness. You can experience it also on the way to sleep, either on the way from sleep to awakened state or from the awakened state to sleep. There is a moment when there is no body identity, and there is no consciousness, but still there is knowledge of being, knowledge of existence. And it is possible in the awakened state to experience that by getting rid of the I am the body idea, body identity. You still will be having body consciousness, but no identity with it. So there will
What
be.
is the body consciousness?
When you are aware of the body. In deeper sleep, you are not aware of the body. Only in the awakened state, you are aware of the body or conscious of the body, whichever word you like to use.
I'm just now thinking, what does it mean to be aware of the body? How am I aware of the body?
And you're aware of the body now. Sensory.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it, right? So there is I who can see. So there is I that sees it. In deeper sleep, there is I that doesn't see it, right? Because there is no body consciousness. But there is a process there through which a particular form of energy, kind of a light, so to speak, passes through some channels which are invisible for any measuring tool. Okay, it can be experienced somehow, but we are not going into detail. So when this energy passes through, illuminates the brain, and when the brain is illumined, right, then there is the beginning of sensory perception. So I become aware of the body, and through the body, the world. I begin to hear, to see, to smell, to feel, to taste, right? There's a possibilities there. So this is called body consciousness. You can lose body consciousness also. You may lose either body identity or you lose body consciousness. Therefore, there will be no body with what you can identify yourself with. It's not necessary to lose body consciousness. It's enough if you lose body identity. If the thought, I am the body, disappear. This knowledge of being is not a thought. This I amness is not a thought. It's a sense of being, it's a feeling, but it's not a thought. And this feeling I am, right, is the gate, so to speak, through which you can, it's the window, so to speak, through which you can know that you are that which is beyond the knowledge of being, that you are that, even before you know that you are that you are present always, that you are ever present, permanent. we can say eternal, right? That is your
And
name.
that know,
Mhm.
and what is the nature of that knowledge?
Sorry?
And what is the nature of that knowledge?
Reflection. It's a reflection of yourself. Imagine the brain to be a mirror, right? And you switch off the light, you see nothing. You don't see the mirror, you don't see the light, you don't see the image in the mirror. Still, you are present. You switch on the light, right? And then the reflection appears in the mirror, right? That's the reflection of myself. Take the reflection in the mirror as the knowledge. See, I know that I am, right? They are identical. One is a reflection and the other one is real. So the I amness is a reflection of the light of the self, the absolute, whatever you like to call it, in the body.
How this information or this understanding or this image that I am beyond the I amness is going to come to me, appear to me.
To me, whom? Not to Najil. It cannot appear to Najil. So this knowledge, see, it's like you will reveal yourself by itself to yourself as that. You know that you are that, but you will know it as that, not as Najil. Najil doesn't even aware that it exists. That the body is not conscious. The mind is not conscious. The body is not conscious because I know the body. The mind is not conscious because I know the mind. And not even the knowledge I am knows that it is, right? Because the image in the mirror cannot know that it is there, right? So the one that knows all that is me as the absolute. And the one that knows that it is the absolute is oneself as the absolute.
Okay. And I wanted to finish my first question, then we discussed that. And what is the attention then? Attention.
Attention is, it depends. See, when the attention is focused onto something, right, in particular, you can call that mind because there is already the split, right, between subject and object. If there is no mind, there is attention or cognition, but it's not on any particular object. It's like omnidirectional, right? Sensory perception. Attention is basically sensory perception without thought, without mind.
And how is it directed? How am I able to direct this attention? So it's like it's a physical thing then.
It's a physical thing, yeah. It's like this is where the mind kicks in, right? Then is I pay attention to something, right?
Right.
If there is no I that pays attention to something, the attention is omnidirectional. It's like you basically can perceive everything at once, right? This is a very alert state. The mind is that I and something, right? I and you. And I means body. See, body identity is mine as ego. Right? Then apparently now the body, which is an object, becomes a subject, right? And it perceives something, see, it pays attention to something as if it is separate from itself, right? Then comes I and you. That is duality. And then I and you, duality, I am separate from you, I am here, you are there. I am different from you. Look at my body, look at yours, right? Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
I am independent from you, you on your way, me on my way. And perhaps things go more crazy. I am better than you, worse than you, superior, inferior, etc., etc., etc. I am right, you are wrong, I am good, you are bad. See, the value system kicks in. The judgment. If the mind is totally still, quiet,
Where is attention when the mind is quiet? Where is it?
when
What's
the mind
happening to attention?
on the I amness, on your own sense of self, and simultaneously everything else. And there is no separation between you and anything else.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking the other day, how am I perceiving this life? Like how on a daily basis I experience this life depends on where I put my attention on. For example, I was thinking that thoughts come to my head, but in reality, I was thinking that my attention, I like lost the control of my attention, and it by itself turned into this. Say there's a pool of thoughts that are always there, and then my attention turned into that
Thought.
pool of thoughts.
Yeah. And then you no longer pay attention to what is. So
Yeah.
what is no longer as it is. It still is as it is. But there is a thought, an interpretation of how it is. And it is based and it is made by me. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the first thought that arises is I, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I may have thoughts or ideas about myself. And the second
Right.
thought that arises is you and all what I think about you. See? So this is the mind as the ego. See? As two separate entities. Mine is basically I and you. Basically that's thought. When you think about something, so the thought I must be there, right? The body identity must be there.
Mm-hmm.
You may be free from thoughts about you, he, she, it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
still the thought I is there. The thought I or I am the body still is there. If you hold that thought, right, by looking at it, it disappears. Body identity disappears. And it becomes
But
obvious, right? That the body, the knowledge of being, and the one that knows that is are one and the same. And there is no separation.
I don't want to say I never, but for the last at least, okay, let's say 1 year, I never thought I am the body. I never think that I am the body, or I don't have that identity or attachment to it. So am I lying to myself?
And if you don't think you are the body, then you are enlightened. This question will simply not arise. This conversation would have never take place.
I honestly never thought I am the body for a long time, but let's say only last year. But
My question is, have you seen the body as any other object?
body as any other object?
Yeah. when you lose body identity, for example, if I am talking to you and I'm waving my hand in front of my face, for example, suddenly I will notice that this computer is an object. This hand is also an object, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I see the body. Therefore, I am not the body. So I must see if there is loss of body identity, this becomes a fact for you, right?
Right.
Yes. That's a loss of body identity. That's a loss of the ego. And when you lose body identity, then you become aware that you are that which is aware of the body. You are that which sees the body. You are that which witnesses everything. Right? And that witness, you cannot know. You can only be it. And you cannot know it neither because it is nameless and formless. Right? You know it somehow intuitively.
Yes, I agree like with everything you say, and I understand that everything you say, but yet there is no this magical feeling or
It won't be any magical feeling. The only thing that may happen, the only phenomenon that may arise, so to speak, is an energy field which is animating the body, which is also formless. This body is matter, right?
mm-hmm.
So this is energy that has been materialized, that got materialized, right?
Yeah.
Thought is also material. It's an energy, but it has a subtle form. The body is kind of gross, right? And the mind is subtle.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an energy there, right? Which is formless too, which is called potentiality. See, when all the possibilities are there, right? And they can be materialized. See?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot separate matter, which is energy, mind, which is energy, from that undifferentiated energy. All that is one thing, right? That energy is the responsible of the appearance of matter and the mind, the gross body and the subtle body. You can call it the causal body. It's the cause of the appearance of phenomenon. Now, we go back to the same point. How do I know that? Right? If I know it, I must be prior to that. See, I must be beyond that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The absolute knower that cannot be known. To know that absolute knower is to be that absolute knower, is to know yourself in essence as that. When you know that you are that, you also know that none of it, okay, energy in its three forms are separate from you. You see them, you're aware of them, and yet not as if they were separate from you. Therefore, right, you alone are, because that is also you. Most people know themselves. This is what is called illusion. See, that let's give a different name to that energy. Let's call it an illusory power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this illusory power creates the illusion, right? Which is the world and the mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that illusion that you see is also you. Let's call it the dynamic aspect of yourself, right? And the other one is the unmovable aspect of yourself, which is beyond qualities, characteristics, attributes, is absolutely nothing, and yet it is. It is formless, and yet it is. It exists.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be no other than myself. Intuitively, we get to that realization, if we can call it like that.
Right.
So whatever I am aware of, conscious of, whatever word you like to use, is inseparable from me, therefore it is also me. Therefore I alone am. This knowledge is called self-realization. So to know myself as the totality of existence, where there are no others.
Mm.
And there is no magical nothing. See? It's one's natural state. It's called natural, not special, right? Or supernatural. Now, again, there is an energy that will get released, so to speak, that will reveal itself, right? And it is extremely powerful and yet extremely subtle. And it's a very energy that is animating the sun, the galaxies, the stars, the atoms, but it's extremely subtle. Right?
This energy will get released.
It will reveal itself because the ego is covering both. The ego is covering that undifferentiated energy and is covering that which is beyond it.
Is it going to be like a local event around the body or what?
It is not located in a particular place, but somehow it is felt. See, the point is, the body is a point of reference, that's all, but it's not located there. It's somewhere around, let's say, the right side of the chest.
Mm.
It's a vibration there, so to speak, which is steady. Yeah, it is dynamic, and yet it's like it is moving, and yet it's not moving. So there is there are particles of that, okay, get materialized, right? And that which is materialized, we call that it is in movement, right? But this energy is alive, right? But it's not moving. It's not moving in a particular direction. It's just there. It's like a dynamo, so to speak. It's like a generator.
Well, I can say with certainty that that hasn't happened to me. The release of energy from the right chest.
This is what people call Kundalini or Shakti or whatever. It doesn't matter how we call it. See, what I like when I speak about this, and I am happy that you pass the comments. I don't see the magic thing around it because we have to demystify the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Something extraordinary is going to happen. None of that is going to happen. It's just maybe a realization that for a while we are a little bit perplexed, right? Like shocked. It's a mental reaction also, which is natural, right? Because you say, my God, there's nobody there here. There's nobody else here, right? I am real, and all this is an illusion. The only real thing is I. And whatever I see is an illusion. And yet, I can't get rid of it. I can't separate myself from it.
So is this release of energy, is that a must happen? Is this what differentiates me and you? That it happened to you, but it hasn't happened to me?
No. Is that the knowledge of being that which sees all that? When that releases, it's like you have the whole picture, right? You know the illusion as it is. See, let's call it in its three forms, right? Gross, subtle, and causal, right? And then you know yourself as that which is super causal. See, super means beyond, not extraordinary, but beyond, which is beyond the cause, see, which is uncaused. It cannot be caused by anything else, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's not a must happen.
Sorry?
It's not a must happen thing.
A mass? What do you mean by mass?
This release of energy that you speak of from the right
Is
side of the chest.
that energy is massive. If you mean by mass, that is massive.
No, must, like must. It has to happen.
It generally does. It generally
Okay.
does. And it does when the ego sense is swallowed by it, which itself created the ego sense. See, because that energy created matter, the gross body, and the mind, the subtle body. See, is the creative power. It created both, see, the mind and the world. So when this energy will get released and it will swallow the mind, not the world, but the mind, means body identity is gone. And then we become aware of oneself as that ultimate, whatever you like to call it, absolute self, Brahman, whatever, spirit or something. It doesn't matter how we call it because it's not how we call it, right? It's just that word we used to refer to it.
So that means that even though I understand everything you say, I am stuck somewhere because it hasn't happened to me. And I need to find where I'm stuck or where I'm lying to myself.
Well, what I feel when you say it hasn't happened to me, see, still me means Nigel, right?
To this body, it's just like whatever terms it's how I choose to say.
It won't happen. See, it won't happen to the body. The body cannot be the subject of such an experience, right? But the body is an object, so it is the mind, so it is the energy. Let's call it the subject, the absolute. So this absolute reveals itself by itself, to itself, as one's nameless, formless existence. Let's put it in that way. What sees.
So do I still think that I am Nail? Is that what it means?
It looks like, otherwise this conversation will simply not arise. No, you will be given answers instead of raising questions.
It's a weird feeling because I know I'm not, but I'm confused. I know for sure that I'm not this body, I'm not my name, I am not whatever.
But you still may believe that you see, people get stuck in the knowledge of existence, in the I amness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't become aware of the fact that this I amness is seen. See? So let's put it in this way. I am identifying myself with the knowledge of being and not with the one that knows that is.
I think I'm stuck in the knowledge of being, right?
Exactly. In the reflection. Yeah.
I need to go to the one who knows, who sees it.
Yes, but don't do anything. It happens by itself. What you have to stop is analyzing life, why this and nothing. See, the mind has to be totally still. The intellect has to stop moving. And the intellect only can function with thought, with knowledge, with memory, right? So this knowledge, you need to discriminate. To discriminate, you need knowledge. Right? How do I go? I have to take a decision, right? And the intellect is a tool of discrimination for that decision to be made. Right, left, blue, green, here, there, this or that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that knowledge merges back into the intellect, then the intellect merges back into the ego. And then the ego merges back into its source.
I have the analyzing mind, I guess. I have this existential question. So next time the existential questions comes,
there must be
I should just ignore it.
They must, exactly, that's the obstacle, because these questions depends upon a questioner. And the questioner itself is thought. I am the questioner and I have this question. Right? The I want to know something. So the mind must be there. The I that wants to know something. So this I has to be free from wanting, free from knowing, right? And then it will disappear because itself, right, is thought.
So in that moment when I have a question, I should look is who is questioning, who has the question.
Exactly. Who means
or what?
You see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look for it, right? But with your consciousness, not with any other tool.
Mm-hmm.
And it will disappear. First, it cannot be you. It's no longer you.
Right. Yeah, I think I lost that discipline. I done it for a while, and then I think I lost my discipline of questioning who is questioning, and now I'm back again.
No discipline. No discipline. I'm not talking about discipline, right?
But there should be a habit of questioning who is the questioner.
Yeah, but
otherwise you will continue questioning.
If you look for the mind or for the place of origin of the mind, it will disappear. It has no choice. It's like as soon as you switch on the light, darkness will disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is this knowledge of simply being. That's it. The rest will reveal itself. It will become obvious to you. There is something beyond the very knowledge of being.
Mm-hmm.
That is reflecting your reality. Right?
Yeah. I thought I've done it so many times, but it means I just never done it.
Yeah, nothing can be done because done how? It will be mental. So the mind will be active. I mean, existentially, there will be an existential self, right? The existentialist being that is having existential questions and is demanding for an answer. So I want something. So forget about the something, right? The desire disappears, and the one that has it cannot survive unless it is associated with an object. It's interested in an object, whether it is physical or intellectual, see, knowledge, whatever, right? It's a state of not knowing. And in that state of not knowing, we get to know one's reality. You will not lose your memory, the capacity to think, to feel. The knowledge that you have when you need it, it will come to your rescue. 1, 2, 3, 7, Russian, I don't know what language you speak, right?
Russian.
That's knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it all the time. If you speak in English, you don't need the Russian knowledge. It got post. It's there. You don't forget it. It's just on a standby, right? So all what you need is set on a standby if you already know it. And if you don't know it, it may reveal itself. It may show up, right? Because the possibility of that knowledge to come is already there, right? In a potential state.
I'm not worried to lose anything, like the mind or anything. Where I'm confused is if you're saying that it's not done, it's not something that you do, then it means that this will happen. We don't know when it's going to happen. It's going to happen randomly.
That's the whole point. The one that wants to know will not be there to know it. So actually it is already here. It's not going to happen because the fact that the self alone is, right, already is. So when is going to happen? And more than when, to whom is going to happen? That's the question. See, you say it hasn't happened to me. So that me, there must be some form of identity in a very subtle way. It doesn't matter. That still is there. So that subtle form of the ego must go, right? And then voila, it's right here, it's right now. There is a totality of phenomenon, okay? We spoke about it, the energy in its three forms, right? And there is what is the phenomenon, and the fact that they are not two separate entities becomes obvious. That's the so-called non-duality, right? Or Advaita or whatever it is. And then you even forget about non-duality and Advaita. You forget all that stuff that is useless from then onwards. It may be useful for somebody that it is inquiring and having questions and so on, but for oneself, it's useless.
Okay, let me ask you again then. When next time I have an existential question, what are my actions or no actions?
Forget about the question, forget about the answer, and see who is the questioner.
What do you mean by forget? Ignore it?
Ignore it. Ignore. Yeah.
Who needs to ignore? The mind?
No, just do
the
it.
Ego?
Don't go to the intellect again. Don't ask this question. See who is the questioner. See, question the questioner. It's reality. What is its nature, right? And your identity as such will disappear.
But there must be somebody to question the question.
Because
Ego.
You believe that you are somebody, right? And then you believe that there must be somebody that also is questioning the questioner. Because it's not a question, right? Who is the questioner? Is you're in your house, right? And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and you hear a noise downstairs at the kitchens, let's say. You want to see who is this person, right? See, go and look, you see is this person notice that you notice the person, right? It goes away. So the same thing is it is with the mind. As soon as you see the questioner will no longer be, it will disappear.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
If you're asking the question about attention, right? Then if the attention falls on the mind, it goes away. Or if the mind is there, which is a sword, right? Then bring the attention to the seer of the sword. Or we're talking about the same thing, just all your attention to your own sense of self. And don't be interested neither in something material or mental. Even if they are there, ignore it. Bring your attention, full attention to your own sense of self. I am. And attention goes to this I amness.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And then from I amness, look at who is.
now if you are paying attention to the I amness, then you have to be beyond the I amness, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the knowledge of being that will just reveal itself. Nothing can be done.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. We spoke before, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Once, I believe. No more than that. Maybe more. I don't remember.
More than, yeah, just maybe last week or 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. Well, you are not in Russia, right? You are
In St. Louis, in USA.
in St. Louis. Yes, I remember. You were living in US, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
Okay. Thank
very
you
interesting.
again.
It's very interesting. It's not a dull thing. Okay. I'm conscious of the object. Fine. This doesn't have to disappear. It may happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're conscious of the object. We're conscious of the body, right? Maybe thoughts. It doesn't matter. Be conscious of the one that is conscious. It's fix your attention there.
Okay.
The rest comes by itself.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.